David Pearl, 79 Main Street.
Yes,
I wanted to
David.
make a couple of comments on the 21st century initiative and so forth. It doesn't seem to be happening here. It's happening for our kids. I brought this up before. These meetings are not recorded. They're not on the web. I'm making an effort. This is my second meeting tonight that I'm trying to be at to try to provide other citizens with some information about what's going on. The price has come down to cheap to do this, and we don't need employees to do it. It can be an automatic system with a big, boring, wide shot, and you know what? If people really are looking for that information, they're going to sit there and they're going to watch it. So I think like anything, if we're saying this is what our kids should be doing, I think we should be doing it as an example, because it's really contrary to what we've discussed at other times when we're talking about online learning and you know all the other stuff that's going on in the school. And I think this mix-up here is a perfect example, because Mr. Meeville could go on the web if this was recorded and watch the whole thing. And yeah, he wouldn't have been there, but he would have got all that information. And I think that that would be an important thing. I also just wanted to point out the town does have an announcement system that I subscribe to, and I get announcements virtually on a daily basis via email. I think they would accommodate you, especially putting a change on there. You know, and the last thing is, with the 21st century thing, the website becomes essential, because we're 21st century people too. And when we go on the website and see it, we don't think to confirm it somewhere else. If it wasn't on the website, we'd start making a call or something. But the fact that it's there makes us not go anywhere else. It is the easiest, convenience way to go. So I just think that we need to kind of, if we're doing 21st century, we got to walk the talk here and you know take some initiative. As a budget committee member, I would support some money in the budget to put in some type of recording system and a posting. We've been talking at the town hall for under $5,000. And then if you want to go from there and do something else later, you know, you can. But we would meet that kind of thing. And we would also be creating a permanent, accurate record. So many times after these meetings, I go back and watch my own video and say, did he say that, or she say that, or I say that? And many times, my perception of what happened at the meeting was incorrect. So I think to have that, it might help people to kind of get a grounding on what's happening at the meeting and what really was said, not the perceptions that they walked out with. So I would ask you to consider that. Thank you.
Okay, yes, Dr. Littlefield? Yeah, yes. David, if I could, any progress, I think 2 years ago, and I think wrote a letter of support to you on what you were trying to do. We were trying to amend the cable contract. Is there any, because that is absolutely the most efficient way to do it, and then you have a dedicated channel of people who go.
Right.
What's the possibility of that resurrecting itself?
Well, as it stands right now, the cable contract wouldn't even have to be amended, because the town of Hooksett is receiving over $100,000 a year in fees on the Comcast bill, intended to go toward public information, but not required. So the town is not outside of the law in just taking that and putting it in the general fund. The last time we made an effort, it was said, well, we're using that for tax relief here, so if we take that out, we've got to raise taxes, we've got to do something else. So we have had 2 warrant articles to try to have it happen. My understanding, the town council could vote to utilize that money. It does not have to be a warrant, it doesn't have to be anything. The only thing I'm aware of is at this point, I've made the same pitch, and Dr. Schenkel has said he's looking into some type of just a basic upload system. The system I'm talking about that's in a couple of other towns is as simple as the secretary pushes a button when the meeting starts. There's one camera with a microphone, and it just uploads everything, and then she pushes a button when it stops, and somebody says that was the, you know, such and such meeting. You can go from there if you want to, but that's the simple.
And is it streaming video? Is it streaming video, or is it something that? Yeah, it would have to be. So
there's 2.
They'd view it on the website, not on cable
Right.
TV.
Yeah. It would be, well, there's 2 ways of streaming. Streaming in real time, which means somebody's sitting home at 8 o'clock watching what you're doing at 8 o'clock. Or then there's a slower system where it's posted at the end of the meeting. So the next day it's available. So personally, I'm not so much in support of having real time, because I think people should come. But I think having it available the next day, particularly for people that come to the meeting to review or yourselves to review, I think that's adequate, you know, to be able to see.
Go ahead, sir. Good. You do this for a living, so it's a little beyond me. So maybe you and I should talk about what is the equipment, what does it look like, how does it work?
Yep.
What do you do if you have a meeting here, but at another time have it in the cafeteria, and is it a portable camera like that? All those questions. I can't speak for the board in terms of whether it's interested in doing it, but I would like to be able to have the answers to those questions of what you need.
And it is more challenging for you than the council is in their chambers all the time. They have a microphone system. They're halfway there, you know what I mean? So yes, my suggestion would be a simple mounted camera for every meeting you have here, and then maybe next year, if you go to the cafeteria, you have a camera. Because, I mean, as a citizen, if you went to the cafeteria once or twice a year, I mean, it's not a legal requirement that you're doing it. So, you know, if we had most of it, that's fine. But certainly you can add on to it. And from a budget standpoint, I like to add on to things because you can see what the usefulness is of what you have, and then decide, is it useful to add on to it, or maybe it's not, you know? So, but the interesting thing is that the basic systems now are under 5,000. So when you start talking about, you know, cost, and what particularly concerns me is we are receiving over $100,000 from Comcast. That's not under your control, but I would think the town could put cameras in this building with that money, so that if they choose, with your permission. So I think the funding certainly could come from the council, and maybe you should talk to somebody on the council.
Okay, thank you for that input.
Thank you.
And if it's consensus, no problems, we'll have Dr. Littlefield look at the feasibility and work out the mechanics of possibly taking that suggestion to heart. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, we have items for the, oh, yes, you may.
Can I ask what the status is of procurement cards? We had discussed that in May.
Yep, they've come in. I just, because of budgets and an issue in one of our other districts that's taken up a lot of my time, I haven't been able to get them out to folks. Once we get through the budget process and I get to the point where I have a few extra free minutes, that's my plan.
So before snow, the people that have
Well,
to
it
put...
snowed already, so
Well,
we
you
can't
know,
say
the next
that.
big snowstorm, you know, that one melted by the time.
Yeah, my plan is to get it out by, within the next few weeks.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? All right. Information items and correspondence.